vehicle that we're going to be working on today in the shop is going to be a 2012 Ram 2500 diesel, just 6.7. I'm going to show you a simple maintenance item, replacing your fuel filter. Really nothing too elaborate on this one. This particular year model only has one. It's located up on the passenger driver's side of the engine block. I'm going to show you where, how to drain it, how to take it out, and roughly what tools I'd recommend use. As a side note, the actual price on the fuel filter, if you're going to buy it from your local Dodge dealer, you're going to be paying about $84 plus tax. I haven't recently priced one aftermarket, so I don't even want to misquote that. I'm sure it's slightly less. Just make sure it is approved by Cummins. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and show you where the drain's located and how to get it started. Alright, so now we're back up under it. We're on top of the engine compartment. We've got something to stand on because these vehicles do sit up a little bit high. So I can show you in relation where it's at. This is actually master cylinder. So if you look down in here, you will actually see that is the fuel filter housing with the hex nut on top that we're going to use to loosen it up with the cover to take off and then remove the cartridge from inside out. In order to start with the procedure, we need to go ahead and drain what fuel is in there out. And if you look directly where I'm pointing, you're going to see that there is a yellow fixture down here, a circular knob. It's got a little hex head on the top of it, as well as a Phillips insert. You can actually loosen it by hand. In order to loosen it, we need to go counterclockwise approximately a quarter turn till it stops. And then we're going to need to get up under with a catch pan and go ahead and put it almost directly below it. Once you open that drain, you'll see where the fluid's going to go, and then you can move your catch can accordingly to catch as much of the fuel as possible. And then we're going to move on to actually removing the hex head fuel filter cap. I got my catch pan up under. Now I'm going to go ahead and open the drain. Now I want you to pay attention to where it's going. Usually it's going to go to the lowest part, which in this case is this differential. You can actually see it dripping right now. So as long as I got my catch pan up under the differential, I should be fine with catching it. Otherwise it'd be all over the floor and it'd be one heck of a slippery mess. Alright, we got the fuel drained all the way out, so we ain't got to worry about that now. So anything that might have been in there, water or any kind of debris that was floating around, has already been drained out. We're going to move on getting the cover off. Now you're going to need an 1 1/8" socket. The one I currently use is actually a deep well. Once I put that on top, I go ahead and get me a 1/2" swivel. Now you can probably find different things that's going to work for you, but I do this pretty regularly, so this is the stuff that I like to use. It makes it faster. I'll use my 1/2" swivel. And then I'm going to use approximately a 12" long extension. I'm going to go ahead and move back so I can show you that. I've got my 12" 1/2" extension. I'm going to go ahead and get it down here. I'm going to go through where this connector is up against the firewall, or the wiper cowl. I'm going to go down through there and go into my swivel extension, or swivel socket, excuse me. And then I'm just going to use my 1/2" ratchet. Now I've got my leverage. I'm not fighting with being down in there. And if it hasn't been off before, it can be a little tight. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and continue loosening it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and work on getting the rest of that filter out. Cap's about to come off. We'll go ahead and remove the tools. There's the cap. And then the filter's just going to press down inside. You're just going to have to grab the top of it and pull it out. Let it drain for a second back into the housing. I usually like to rotate mine upside down, so I don't want to keep pouring out the bottom of it. There we go. Get rid of that. Now, your new fuel filter is going to come with a new O-ring. The O-ring is going to go from where the cap goes onto the housing. Make sure you replace that. And here's the original one. Color doesn't make any difference. It just lets me know it's original. What I like to do is go ahead, once I put this on, I like to put just a little bit of lube around it so that when the cap goes on, there's no rippage. It will actually slip around the O-ring. Okay, that's down in there. Now the fuel filter itself, like I said, it's just going to slide down and snap and bottom out. Let's go ahead and put that down in there. At this point, we can go ahead and close that drain. There's no need for it to be open anymore. You're going to turn it clockwise now to actually shut the drain. Go ahead and add my lube. Now we're just going to put the cap back on. I'm sure there's a torque spec. There's a torque spec for everything. I just go hand tight. Not hand tight without tools, but with tools. Just get it down snug. Just don't overdo it. There's always that fine line between overdoing it and breaking something. I like to just go ahead and snug it down until I feel that it stops. And that's it right there. So as you've already seen, it wasn't too much to doing that job. Pretty much anybody can do it. All you need is a couple tools, something to catch fuel in, and a little bit of patience and a little confidence. One quick side note, I do recommend once you get done that you kind of hose the lower portion of the truck off with a water hose. Everything around the front differential, where the fuel filter is, mainly so that you don't smell fuel as you're going down the road, because there's always going to be some residual there from when we let it drain out, because the drain hose doesn't clear everything, so it's a little too high up. So like I said, I recommend go ahead and hosing everything off to get rid of that as well, and also to stop customers from having any complaints of fuel smell as well. And when you go to start it, initially it may crank up for a second or two and then cut back off. We're going to have to fill the fuel filter housing back up with fuel, so that's what's going to take a little bit of time. On this particular vehicle, I'd recommend just cranking it over for about 3-4 second intervals at a time till you finally get enough in there and she fires up by itself. The previous body style, you could actually bump the key, and that would cause the lift pump to actually come on momentarily to help you fill it up. On this one, you can't bump the key because the starter will just keep turning and turning and turning till it either doesn't crank or it finally does. So like I said, just do some short 3-4 second bursts of cranking. It probably take about 3-4 at the max before it's all the way filled up and fires back up off it by itself. With that, I appreciate you watching my videos. Always stay tuned for more, and always make sure you subscribe. Thank you.